Hey guys, welcome back to the Linux Land podcast. I'm joined by Jeff. Jeff, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Awesome. Well, as per usual, this is a podcast that is not very, in-depth, laid out, prepared. We just talk about what we've been up to this week in Linux and life as well. So, what you been up to in Linux this past week?
Post-apocalyptic RPGs.
Yee. Actually, I was talking with someone today, and they were having issues getting Fallout New Vegas running on Linux. I know you've been streaming it lately, or at least not very lately. I know you've been streaming some really neat games. So did you have any problems with getting it running?
I had no issues with Fallout New Vegas.
Now, he is using a Debian-based distro, so that could be it.
Well, on Ubuntu, I was using Proton Experimental, and I don't have it on this laptop anymore. But on the laptop didn't like something about Proton Experimental. And I had to use Proton, was that 6-3 or whatever it is, the latest one before.
Yeah.
But Fallout New Vegas was just click install and click play. Fallout 3, I had to do something. Fallout 3 was weird for me.
Did you use a custom version of Proton for that one?
No, I'm using Proton 5 for some reason. I can't remember why. And a launch option. I can't remember what. And I had to use a launch option for Fallout 3. I think no eSync or something. I'd have to look.
Yeah. No eSync fixes a lot of issues, if we're being honest. It really does.
I think it was that one, but I'd have to look. I'm not sure. But yeah, Fallout 3 took a little bit of work, but Fallout New Vegas is like hit click install, click play.
And that is what I like about a lot of Proton games. I mean, a large majority of them are just click and play. Even though people would have you believe otherwise, and based off of...
a lot of them are. The ones that aren't, but...
Yeah. The ones that don't just click install, it's you might have to jump through some hoops. But if we're being honest, I mean, if you look at it from the perspective of like a console gamer, spending 30 minutes getting a custom version of Proton installed, or this or that, it's pretty much the same thing.
Glorious Egg Roll is pretty easy to install, and the documentation on the Glorious Egg Roll site's really good.
It's so good. His installation guide is perfect.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that I ever hear people talk about when it comes to Glorious Egg Roll is where they just download it. They don't even read the installation guide.
Right.
And they have issues. I'm like, he specifies it in there. He teaches you how to get out of the dependency hell. And that, like, it's super easy. And you just got to follow the install guide. There's so many people nowadays. I've talked about this lately, and I would love to hear your opinion on it. But people just don't, like, I highly doubt it's people not wanting to read or not being able to read, but people choose, like, it seems like people are deliberately choosing nowadays to not read at all. And it's so annoying.
I mean, sometimes the actual answer is RTFM.
Yeah.
And you're not being rude. I mean, usually when people say that, they're being rude, but sometimes it's the actual answer.
Like, sometimes, I mean, it does, like... And also, like, I've started to get more and more on my own ass about not reading manual pages and going and Googling it. Because I think it was actually in my live stream that I was doing yesterday, or technically last night, but whatever, still yesterday. I had the issue of, I can't remember, I was using grep or something like that, and I was searching for a specific flag, and I started Googling it. And, like... I was like, wait, what the hell am I doing? Just load up a man page, man. Like, it's right there. It'll show you. And
I'll end up Googling it half the time anyway, because it's like I'll see the man page and I was like, yeah, I want to see this an actual example of this.
Yeah, that is one thing where the internet comes in super clutch, is just seeing examples. To be honest, there are some man pages that include some pretty good examples, but a lot of them don't. A lot of them just give you the information that you need without examples. That's one thing that I do give OpenBSD. Their man pages are well written and have most if not all of the OpenBSD man pages have some really good examples in them as well. And just in case, if you're ever considering moving away to a BSD based operating system and you care about the documentation and making the transition easy, OpenBSD I feel like is the place to go. It's great. But I was also going to see, so I just rendered out the video. It finished literally right before I pressed record to do this, but I've been ricing my DWM setup, and I've gotten rid of my bar at the top. Like I can press a shortcut and get the bar back in DWM, but I'm not using it at all. I've got 4 workspaces, and I mean because I keep certain programs up on 3 of them, and then the last one is just like whatever, either a terminal, browser, whatever. So like I really don't need the bar, and like what I've been doing instead is like making a whole bunch of little scripts. Like if I press mod B, I get my battery status. It'll tell me the percentage it's at and whether it's full or not. I press mod T and that gives me the date and time. Mod shift S will give me, this is a really neat little script that I whipped up, but it'll give me my actual subscriber count for the channel, which is neat. So it's my rice here. It looks really good. It's a purple sort of darker theme. But I really like the look of it, and I like how not having a bar has encouraged me to create a lot of nifty scripts just to improve the functionality and stuff. And so I was going to see, have you been doing any ricing or changing up with your system here lately?
I got a dark pink theme going on.
Ooh, nice.
And anime style drawing of the band Nemophilia. I've heard that name before. I can't remember. They're a Japanese hard rock metal band, and they just got done mixing their first album, but they have a extended EP available of all their singles. And that was actually an international release and not a Japanese release, released out of JPU Records out of, I think, London or England or somewhere. And they're on like their 5th pressing already. And that usually takes, years to get to like the 3rd or 4th or 5th pressing. But they've been real popular.
Well, I will say one thing. It is always nice to hear artists doing well.
Right.
The amount of artists out there that are just mistreated and not having any luck with growing and success, it's really heartbreaking, because like there's a lot of artists out there where that struggling or starving artist like statement really does come, it rings true for a lot of people.
So they formed right before the COOF, and I think they did like 2 live shows, and then the COOF happened.
Oh.
But so they've been doing a lot of it's not so much anymore, but at first, like every Friday they drop a video, and it was usually a cover of some old like metal song or hard rock song from when I grew up. Like there's a couple Iron Maiden. They're not a cover band, but the covers and releasing every week on YouTube for a year really helped get them popular.
I will say that's one thing that a lot of smaller artists and creators don't really understand. It's like it's one of those things where like you can, if you like doing it and you want to branch out, do it. Branch out, because even though that's not what you're trying to do, if you at least enjoy doing it, doing that is a really good way of bringing attention to yourself, building a brand and building your image. Because a lot of artists and creators don't really do the whole like, and I'm guilty of this too. The consistency is so difficult in being a creator. Like I don't think so many people like hate hate calling, doing YouTube or whatever type of creation a job, but it really is. Like, it really is. Even if you're not doing a lot of editing.
I'm not even going to pretend to do a schedule anymore because I'm just terrible at keeping it.
You started breaking up there. You said I'm
not even going to claim to try the schedule anymore because I'm just terrible at keeping a schedule.
Same. I don't try and lock myself into a schedule anymore, but I try and still do something, if not every day, close to every day.
So I was wanting to do text adventures on Sunday, and more on Monday and Fallout Fridays. No, whatever I do, that's what I'm going to do. Screw that schedule.
It's funny because I think Discord is crapping itself right now, so it sounds like it's a robot going in and out.
Oh no!
Yeah.
And then I'm running the icon theme I'm running is the Moe Ubuntu theme.
Oh.
So but then so it's like the file manager's a pink file folder with a heart on it. It don't look like an old man's desktop at all.
Well, I will say one thing. I'm rocking, even though I'm not using a graphical file manager anymore. I've switched over to using FFF as my file browser, and I'm really liking it. If you're unfamiliar with what the name or FFF stands for, it's quite literally the fucking fast file manager. That's what it stands for. And it's so fast. It uses Vim key bindings. I really like it. But even though I'm not using a graphical file manager, really ever interacting with icon sets at all, I have a really nice pink icon set, and I love it. Like, I love it. Like, and my theme is purple too. So, like, for a lot of people, they might not consider my desktop the most manly thing out there, but I really like the aesthetic. It's really nice.
Yeah, and this one, Firefox is like a pink dinosaur. It almost looks like Barney, but it's a pink dinosaur instead of purple.
And then I will say one thing. It is very nice to see a lot of other people's rices, because like, you do get an idea for how stupid the mindset of, if you like pink, you're not as masculine or something. It's so funny to see that, because I know so many people who rock pink themes. Like, Hex DSL is a good example. His rice is always pink, and it looks really nice. I mean, in my opinion, it looks really nice. I'm sure other people would be like, it looks heinous, but I like it. I like it.
I get picky with my dark themes, and I'm not even sure where I grab these, but my window manager theme is something called Matcha Dark Sea. The GTK themes, Troll Wet, pink, dark, and then the Moe pink icons. So it's like,
I will say one thing. When it comes to themes are one of those things where they really do improve the experience of your own desktop. And I wish mainstream, like, operating systems like Windows and Mac would understand that it is, even though it might make your operating system less locked down, for the end user, it's great being able to just change the theme color. Like, in Windows, they let you change, like, the bar color and, like, the highlight color, and that's pretty much it besides the wallpaper. It's so annoying. Like, let me theme it. Like, let me choose how I want it to look. And I don't know, like, Mac is the same way. Like, theming a Mac is like, have fun, brother. Have fun.
Yeah, the only real issue I had is the volume icon wasn't showing up, and I had to figure that out. And it was just changing a file name to whatever XFCE was looking for there.
Oh, so you're using XFCE. How much are you enjoying it? Because I've heard recently that XFCE has some more odd, like, behavior.
I haven't noticed any weird behavior, and I've been, like I said, I've been using it basically basically since 2012, I used Unity for 2 years during the 1804 Ubuntu cycle. So I finally decided I liked Unity after not liking it forever.
Yeah.
And then they dropped it.
Yep. And dude, there's I can't remember if it was while I was talking to you or not, but someone told me to go check out. There's apparently a distribution of Ubuntu that still has Unity in it. And I really like the idea that they're trying to keep Unity alive, but I have never in my life seen a live USB so buggy. Like I swear to hand to God, I have never seen a distribution so buggy. I've seen ones that don't work, but not like that.
When I first installed Ubuntu 2004, I did it right at feature freeze. It was still in beta.
Mm-hmm.
And I went ahead and installed the Unity desktop on that. And I think I ran it like that for about 6 months. And for the most part, it was okay. But like every now and then you'd run a game and the top bar and full screen wouldn't disappear like it was supposed to. Just log back into XFCE to fix it. But I finally, it was, it needs more than maintenance at this point.
Yeah.
And it's getting maintenance, but that's all it's getting.
Yeah. XFCE is one of those desktop environments where I genuinely think if it had more developers behind it, it would really help. Like, I mean, there's a lot of DEs where, like, GNOME is a good example of this. Like, they need to reevaluate their ideals, because throwing an extra 15 developers on the GNOME team does jack shit. It doesn't help anything. Now, for something like XFCE, if they had more developers to it, they could get a lot more done besides just trying to keep XFCE maintained and working the way that it should at its current state.
They could use some work on their multi-monitor support.
Mm-hmm. As far as I know, they have improved it some, right?
Yeah, but it's still wonky.
Oh, are you using a multi-monitor setup?
I was using 2 monitors. I think it was yesterday, and I just went ahead and unplugged one.
Mm-hmm.
And I had had my 20-inch monitor as my as the primary monitor, and that worked fine until I unplugged it. And then my desktop was like doing weird stuff, like the top bar, half the whole screen would flash and half the stuff would disappear, and I ended up having to plug that monitor back in because nothing else. And then once that other monitor was plugged in, switch it and then tell it, no, make the laptop monitor their primary monitor, and then unplug that monitor to fix it.
Well, XFC is using their own compositor, right?
I think so, yeah, because I don't think I've had to install Compton in a while.
Yeah, it's weird because from everything that I've heard, their compositor is very good, but just when it comes to not necessarily odd setups, but more complicated setups, that's when it starts crapping itself.
But yeah, the multi-monitor support's weird because sometimes it works perfect, and then other times it's like, what the hell is... Like, I just unplugged that monitor, and even had to shut down the machine. So I unplugged the extra monitor while the machine was turned off, booted it back up, and it was just weird until I
had to set the
settings. Plugged in again, and then told it, no, make the laptop monitor the primary monitor again.
Mm-hmm. Well, so besides weirdness in XFCE, is there any other issues that you've been having? Primarily with Pulse Audio? ?
No, actually not.
Interesting. Okay.
I think the last time I had an issue with Pulse Audio, that video is still up. It's the intro video on my channel, and it's all echoed and everything. And I've been meaning to replace that video forever. And a lot of the stuff's not even valid anymore, because at the time, if you're going to play games in Steam run on Ubuntu, you better use that PPA for newer Mesa drivers and all that good stuff. And I'm not sure that's true anymore.
Yeah, as far as I know, they've actually done a good job of getting the reliance on PPAs in Ubuntu is starting to get better. It's still not perfect, but and that's one of the things where I I appreciate the fact that Ubuntu has the option of running PPAs, but the problem that I have with PPAs, I don't know if you've ever noticed this before, but PPAs will get forgotten about and unmaintained like nothing else.
Yep.
It is the most annoying thing. Like there are some PPAs that, I mean, a large portion of Ubuntu users are using that hasn't been updated or maintained in over a year and a half. And that is so common.
Well, like there was a PPA for Nosos, and it's still there. You could, but you're not going to get a new version of Nosos, and so Nosos ain't going to work for you. So now on Ubuntu, you got to build it from source code.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in the AUR, and the actual developer provides the package for the AUR.
And keeps it up to date too.
And keeps it up to date.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's I can't remember I can't remember if I was talking to TFL or who it was, but someone was telling me, they're like, so when it comes to, oh no. So someone was asking me in the live stream about Qtile on Ubuntu, and we went, like, I went to the website and was looking at Qtile, getting it installed in Ubuntu. And for you to install it on Ubuntu, you can do the pip route and install it through pip. The problem with doing that though is, as far as I know, pip, even though it will pull in dependencies for it, for installing Qtile from essentially source, you're going to need to run it's Python, then the setup.py script with an install flag. And as far as I know, pip is just going to run Python and then the install script. So pip won't work. And then their PPAs for Qtile are like, you can and go through the PPA route, but the last the last version of Ubuntu that PPAs were on is I think it was like 1804 or something like that. Oh. And the one before that was like 14.04 or whatever. And I'm 99% sure 14.04 is the same version of Ubuntu where Hannah Montana Linux came out on using it. And so that ain't gonna work. So you essentially have to pull it down from their GitHub and essentially install it from source. Using the command. And it's just, it's one of those things where Ubuntu for a lot of things is easier. Like for a lot of things, Ubuntu is just an easy to use distro. It's easy to get help. But for certain things, the PPA system and the way Ubuntu goes about solving problems sort of breaks down for quite a few things. And that's the reason why I have a problem with Ubuntu. Really, in all honesty, it's that, and then also Snap.
Well, I'll tell you what, speaking of snaps, I've got 2 snaps on this Manjaro machine now.
Really?
Yep.
So I have a question. You don't have a problem with the Snap daemon essentially just taking over your system?
Not really, but it was annoying. It was really annoying because there's probably a way to do it in the terminal, but I also had actually 3 snaps because I also had to install the Snap store so I could go into permissions and give Stunt Rally permission to use the joystick.
Oh, good Lord. See, my thing with snaps, I can't really get behind snaps. I don't understand why. And it's not because I have a problem with proprietary. I just can't understand why snaps are proprietary. I don't see the value in it.
Right. Well, in the case of OBS, they've got I run latest edge of the OBS snap, and they bake a lot of extra stuff that a lot of the plugins that you would have to manually install, they are baked right in. So that's good in that case. But I started it was in the AUR Stunt Rally, so I tried installed it from the AUR first. And the performance was great, no sound.
Weird.
And I could turn everything on. I could turn the graphics settings up to ultra, and the performance was absolutely wonderful, no sound. So then I installed the Flatpak, which is what is on the Stunt Rally website for you to download and install, and the performance just tanked. I had to turn the settings all the way down to low to get any kind of performance at all out of it.
Hey.
And so the Snap just works better on this machine for whatever reason.
And see, I mean, again, I'm
But
not going to be.
I didn't just have to install Stunt Rally though. I also had to install the Snap Store so I could, because that was easier than figuring out what terminal command to give that particular snap a permission to use a joystick.
Mm-hmm.
Where in the Snap Store, there's just a button next to install for permissions. It's like, okay.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's one thing that a lot of us like heavy terminal users just don't acknowledge or give proper credit to. Like the GUI interfaces for almost everything out there.
And I did look it up for a minute. Mm-hmm. But I didn't spend too much time on it because all of them said to go into everything I looked up. All said to go in the Snap Store and use the permissions tab, and there was no instructions on how to do it in the terminal.
No.
And maybe if I would have kept digging.
But is it worth it? I mean, it's not difficult.
It's like, yeah, I'll just fine. I'll fucking install the Snap Store, which I didn't have installed on here before. I only had the OBS Snap on here before. Come on.
Yeah. And I mean, also it's one of those things where the Snap Store is not like you're downloading like 18 gigs of data. No. It's fine. One thing that cracks me up, I can't remember who was talking about it, but someone was talking about the fact that oh good Lord, what GUI application was it? I can't remember.
They would be a lot nicer if they worked like they were supposed to, and actually, because like on this machine, which is no big deal because it's in the repositories anyway. But like 0AD and Open Jedi Knight just doesn't work. It works on Ubuntu, but on this Monjaro machine, those snaps don't work. They just crash.
Well, I've definitely never tried the 0AD snap before, but 0AD does, for me, it's always worked fine. But again, I'm on, well, I mean, you are on Manjaro, right?
Yeah, I think I did it. I think I did it once because they had just updated, and it wasn't updated in the repo yet, but the snap was updated. It was like the day they updated or something.
That's one thing I will give the containerized versions of programs for, too. I mean, they are on top of updating that shit. They stay on top.
So it's like, okay, fine, that don't work. I didn't really want the snap on my machine anyway. I'll wait a couple days for the update.
And so speaking of 0AD, have you been playing more and more of 0AD lately?
Not lately. Okay. But it's something I always go back to. But man, you got to put at least 2 hours into it. Yeah,
0AD is not a game that you hop into and play for 10 minutes. Like it's just not. And that's another thing I will say when it comes to gaming on Linux. So many people are not about the process of dealing with something not working, which cracks me up because so many gamers are like, if you play a lot of games, there's a good chance that even though you're not a console gamer, you have a console available to you, like an Xbox or PS something. And it cracks me up the amount of people who are like, it's too much hassle and time waster to spend 20 minutes getting a custom version of Proton downloaded and put in the right folder, which cracks me up because I'm like, okay, you turn on the Xbox 360, Xbox One, whatever, and you're going to be downloading an update for 45 minutes anyway.
And the thing's spying on you the whole time.
Exactly. Especially, I mean, dude, if you got like one of them connects, I mean, you might as well just be you might as well just take a mapper into your house and just map your house for Microsoft.
And as far as fixing games, especially old ones, they don't, it's like, sometimes it's, like say KOTOR, Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, you got to go into the ini file and do things to make it work in Linux. Guess what? You got to go into the ini file and change those exact same things to make it work on modern Windows. So it's like,
yeah. And
I see people having more trouble with that game trying to run it on modern Windows than on Linux.
Especially when it comes to retro games. I mean, I got to be honest, just in case anybody out there is unfamiliar with this, if you play retro games and you're thinking of switching to Linux, do it. The experience of playing retro games on Linux, you're going to have a much better time.
Yep.
Much better. Which is funny because a lot of these retro games that I'm not directly talking about, but thinking of, they were built for Windows. Like,
Yeah, they was built for Windows XP. Good luck running it in Windows 10.
Exactly. And Windows is one of those not distros, but one of those operating systems where the reason it's so GD bloated is because they can't understand that, you know, relinquishing old dependencies and old compatibility with software, like they're just not about it. They will not do it. The foundation of Windows is the same as the foundation for Windows, or Windows 10 is the same foundation that was for Windows XP 98. Like, and yet still, when you take a Windows XP game and take it to Windows 10 or 11, you're gonna have problems. You just are. So Windows and Microsoft's whole argument that, you know, it's important for us to have backwards compatibility, that's why our OS is so big, I don't see that argument holding up.
Well, the argument might hold up if it worked, but it don't.
Exactly.
You're going to have an easier time running them old games in Linux and Wine.
And it cracks me up too, because I don't know how many people will actually want me to talk about this, but so yesterday in my live stream, I went off on a Microsoft rant, particularly about the crappy decision of making the dark theme only available if you sign in to GitHub. And there's so many decisions like that the Microsoft executives make. I've stressed this before. I'm going to go ahead and say it again just to try and hold back the wave of emails that I'll get. But look, if you're a Microsoft engineer or a Microsoft developer, you are the reason that the company stays afloat. You are the reason why Microsoft is still held in high regard. The decisions that I'm about to talk about, I'm specifically talking about the executives and decision makers at Microsoft. They make poor and quite frankly uneducated decisions that just do not the thing about the dark thing that really gets me is yes, them getting my information, they can sell it, and I understand that makes money, but it's very marginal money. Like, I mean, if we're being real, it's a pubes hair amount of money. It ain't worth anything. But they'll do decisions like that to try and make money off of you that just ruin the end user experience. Because let's be honest, if you're the amount in 2021, the amount of websites and stuff that have a literal dark theme is too much to count. Almost every single website has a dark theme, unless it's an old website or just poorly maintained. They have dark themes. And when you go to GitHub or Microsoft, online products, for the most part, it can be such a hassle to figure out whether or not they even have a dark theme because of brain dead decisions like that. Like,
I don't understand why. It's blinding, all that white on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
It's horrible.
Yeah, and
it's straight up uncomfortable.
Yep, and I mean, if we're being honest, I don't understand how it took decades for us to get to the point where, white on black is probably not black on white is probably not the best way of going about displaying stuff.
I mean, even the Commodore 64 had that figured out. The blue and cayenne was actually pretty easy on the eyes.
Mm-hmm. I will never understand why it's taking this long for us to decide that, it's probably better and more comfortable on the eyes to use dark themes. How? As humanity, do it take so long for so much of us to be, white themes are not as good.
Especially if it's dark and you're sitting there and all of a sudden you go to a webpage, it just all I can't see.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if you have a problem with epilepsy, loading up web pages in the dark is a severe risk. Like you're taking a risk every time you load up a web page. Now, one thing that I will say, I love the hell out of Qt Browser. I love the hell out of it. But the one thing that does irk me a bit about Qt Browser is when I load it up, I'm showing my screen right now. And so if I load up the web browser, it loads up, and before the website's loaded, it's just a white screen. And I wish that Qt browser would just do a small minor patch where instead of when it's loading up a website, it's loading the browser, instead of a white screen, it'll just show a black screen. And that's such a minor gripe, but I still wish it would be nice. Like,
it's jarring. All of a sudden your nice dark screen just be blinding. It's literally jarring.
And I mean, it's one of those things where we've, at least we're starting to get better at not just incentivizing it, but making it a norm for dark themes to be just the default. As somebody who had an ulcer in their eye and suffered from severe light sensitivity, I can tell you, white themes are definitely not good for your eye. You just don't feel the pain when you're sitting in front of a screen that's all white. You just don't, unless you got some eye problem where you're light sensitive. Then you can really tell how bad it is on your eye because it actually physically hurts. But that being said, we won't go down the rabbit hole of crapping on Windows or Microsoft products. So speaking of crapping on stuff, you got anything to say about Chromebooks?
Fuck those things. That's about it.
Yeah. I was actually talking with somebody about Chromebooks, and then I saw Chris Titus Tech had made a post about Chromebooks.
Oh. Yeah.
You got something to say about that?
They're if all you need is a web browser, fine, but other than that, they're junk.
Yes, and I will not understand, because the thing about Chromebooks that sort of crack me up is like people will be like, well, they're really good because, again, you just need a browser and you'll get great battery life. I'm like, that's like saying, the old Aztec car, just that I can't remember what company made it, but the oh good Lord, yeah, I can't.
Yeah, they're so good. My Pentium laptop from 2014 outperforms a Chromebook from last year.
Yeah, and the battery life, of course it's great, because you're literally doing nothing other than just booting into Chrome. Like, of course. Like, that's the dumbest argument ever. That's like saying, I love the car that I bought because it has no extra features in it and it's super light, so it goes fast and it saves on gas. I'm like, well, yeah, of course it does, because you've stripped out all the features and it's light as shit. Like that's not a pro for the car. That's because you remove so much. That's the dumbest argument. Not dumbest. I'm sure some of you guys rip out a ton of your shit in your car to make it go, get better gas mileage. I'm not saying it's stupid, but saying that is the pro of the car is not really true. Like, that's just a side effect of it having like 5 features instead of 100.
Oh yeah, the last time I built a 22R, I got rid of all that emissions bullshit.
Dude, one thing I will say is, out here, I don't know about how it is where you are, but our emissions testing has gotten a lot stricter. And so we have my grandfather's old truck that passed emissions for forever. Now when we take it in there, the dude's like, yeah, no, you're gonna need this is just, it's not, you can't pass emissions. Like, the guy told us, like, we could do some like heavy modifications that would cost us about $800 to get it to where it would pass emissions, and we're like, it's a 1980 something truck.
Nice.
Yeah, it's old. It runs, I mean, it still runs, and it's a nice truck. I mean, even though it's beat up to hell, I mean, it's a farm truck, so of course it's beat up to hell. But yeah, like, it's just, we're not going to dump $800 into it to get it street legal. We'll just keep running around the farm.
Yeah, can't you just, like, I don't know, you can do this in some places, like put farm use only on it. And
yeah.
If you end up going on a road for a little bit, that's fine.
I don't know if we've done that because, well, for one, as far as I know, I think it was like last year or something, like essentially right. I think it was either right after, it may have been a little bit after, but after we figured out it wasn't going to be able to pass emissions anymore. And we used it around the farm for a little bit, but I'm pretty sure my uncle is the one who now has it. He's using it around his house. And he doesn't have like a farm or anything like that, but he does a whole bunch of work outside. And
Right.
those old trucks are great for that. They might not get the best gas mileage, but that's not the reason you're using it. Like
a lot of these new ones don't get great gas mileage either if they got a big engine that they're actually going to do work with.
And like my grandfather got a new Honda Ridgeline, and he cracks up about it because it's the bed onto that thing is shit. It's like 5 feet. It's the worst thing ever. But me and him cracked up laughing because like if you look under the hood, it is like built clearly. Like you don't even have to understand cars. You can take one look at it and be like, oh, this was built so I can't fix it. Like that's literally how it was designed. And it's the most annoying shit. Like why? Come on.
I used to have a 66 International crew cab dually, and I wish I still had that thing. But it got 11 miles per gallon.
Ooh, that's
no matter what. If it was empty, it got 11 miles per gallon. If you threw 1.5 tons of gravel in the bed, which was like way overloaded, it got 11 miles to the gallon, and it didn't care. You still didn't need to use the granny gear to get started because it was just geared like a mule.
That's one thing that people don't give Hummers credit for. Like Hummer's got that same problem where they're just like 11 miles to the gallon, but you can load up like those trucks that get that bad of gas mileage. There's a reason they get that back, because you can load them bitches up and they're still going to get the exact same gas mileage, which is, I mean, it's not great because like, I mean, if you're not hauling stuff or anything, it'd be nice to get better gas mileage. But at the end of the day, it's nice to know that you're not going to load it up, drive away and get like 4 miles to a gallon.
One of the guys that had that thing before me moved mobile homes with it. And that's not something you do with a little truck normally.
Really?
Those old Internationals were built like tanks. Holy cow.
I will say one thing, like there's or I keep saying that. I need to stop saying I'll say one thing. But anyway, we have a company that does like they'll do the old, oh God, what do they call it? The military Humvees. And so you can buy like a military Humvee out here, and there's a guy out here who has his own Humvee, and it is the funniest thing to just see him driving, because like when I pass him, you know, like I'll wave at him, but there are people like in front of me that when they pass, they're like, I can see their heads like lock onto him, like, oh, the military's coming through here, and it's like, no. No, it's just your neighbor going to get some groceries.
Those things, the actual military ones, I don't even think they have keys, do they? You just turn them on.
I have no idea about it. And as far as I know, like to be able to own it, like they have to remove some of the special things about it. I'm pretty sure if you were to buy a military Humvee and drive it as a citizen, I think you actually have to replace the bulletproof glass in it. I don't think you can have it. Come on. I know that. That's one of the things. Like when I heard that, again, I'm not sure that's the case.
I can understand the machine gun mount or something like that. Although we should be allowed to have that also, according to our Constitution.
Yeah, but I mean, when it comes to the bulletproof glass, like, come on, man, that's so neat. Like, even though
that's better than safety glass.
Exactly. But I mean, I will say, I mean, definitely as a citizen, it's unnecessary. I mean, if you need a bulletproof glass, I don't know what you've done, but
you've probably done something nefarious.
Yeah. But it would be nice to just it would be nice if bulletproof glass got to the point where you could just get bulletproof glass as like your windows in your home. Like that would be nice. But you can, but the expense for it is out the ass.
Didn't someone actually make transparent aluminum now?
Interesting. I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure that's a real thing now. It's not just from like that Star Trek movie anymore.
Transparent aluminum. I have to find this out. We will do some researching here on the pod. Let's get learned. Transparent aluminum from, holy crap. Aluminum oxynitrate or nitride is a transparent ceramic composed of aluminum, oxygen, and nitrogen. That's insane.
Transparent aluminum is real now. Not just a something in a Star Wars movie with the whales. Or Star Trek, excuse me.
I wasn't even gonna correct you. I knew exactly what you meant, because the first link when I searched it was a Star Trek like fandom. But dude, that's so cool. Like now, what would be really interesting is if we could get like laptops or desktop computers made out of transparent aluminum. That would be sick. Be sick. Be able to look inside your PC, see everything.
Right, like an acrylic case, but it's aluminum instead. That would be.
Yeah, where you don't sneeze on it and you chip the plastic. Like that'd be nice. Well, so when it comes,
how'd we go off on this tangent?
I have no idea. I just thought of it. I'm like, maybe we should get back on topic.
Oh,
but I mean, then again, this is the podcast where we don't have topics. We go down tangents, and hopefully everybody enjoys it. I don't see why you wouldn't. I mean, again, it's not like one of these things where we have a set topic that we're going to go over.
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is there an easy way to convert an RPM package or a deb package to a Arch package?
I'm actually not sure about RPM. I know when it comes to deb, you can essentially take a deb and extract it and then use it on Arch. I'm not sure exactly the process. I really haven't done it, but I've been told multiple times by other people, just you can pull down the deb and use the deb on Arch. I know you can do that.
Huh.
I wouldn't try to tell you exactly how to do it because I'm not sure. I don't want to give you wrong info, but I know it can be done. I'm not sure about RPMs though, because that Fedora does their own type of shit, you know.
Yeah.
Fedora is definitely they've got their own thing going, which I respect, but I know for a lot of people they love Fedora. Fedora is a good distro, but for me, Fedora is just it's all right. I'm not big on GNOME, and if you want to get the KDE spin of Fedora, I've tried it, and for some reason the KDE spin of Fedora gives me a ton of issues, particularly with audio.
I don't want to talk too much smack about GNOME because some people like it, but it's not for me.
Same here. I mean, I like GNOME. I have no problem with GNOME. It's just it's one of those desktop environments where I look at it. I like the aesthetic of GNOME, and I like the idea of using GNOME, but just in practice, it's not for me. But all right, well, I think we're going to go ahead and we'll end off this podcast right here. I don't know if we're close to an hour or not, but I mean, hey, if we ended off a little short, I don't think anyone will have a problem with that because we have done podcasts that were closer to the 3-hour mark. So we'll make up for those long streams with podcast with a short one today. So thank you guys for watching. It's been an absolute fun time. I've enjoyed the hell out of talking with you, Jeff, and I'm sure we'll keep talking for a little bit after we end this off. But thank you guys for watching, and if you want to check out Jeff and his channel over at Low Spec Linux Laptop, link will be in the description. Definitely go on over there. He makes some great videos, especially if you like live streams and you like retro gaming, or at the very least, you know, non-AAA like drop dead gorgeous games, you know, stuff that bring back the nostalgia and also make gaming great. Like, I don't know, Morrowind. Definitely go check out his live streams.
I started Fallout 1.
Oh yeah. Well, actually I was going to ask you because I totally forgot the name of the game. What was that game that you were playing that's similar to Fallout inspired?
Atom RPG.
Atom RPG.
And most of that was just going through the hour-long tutorial before, because the actual game starts when you get mugged.
That's the best way to start off a game. You just losing all your shit.
That's definitely a callback to like Fallout, the original Fallouts. I
had a really good time watching you play that. That was that right there was so good. I was like, I definitely need to check this game out.
It's been a while since I played it, and I haven't gotten that far in it, but I'm pretty sure my next my next mission is to go collect the Amanita muscaria mushrooms. They're calling them toadstools. But if I remember right, maybe I'm wrong, but if I remember right, that's what they are in the game. Because that lady gave me the psychedelic drink.
Yeah.
And she wants me to go pick mushrooms for her.
That's the best, dude. There's nothing like some good mushroom picking in a game.
It's like, what? Yeah. So.
Yep. Well, all right, guys. I hope all of you have a great day. And I and Jeff will see you in next week's podcast. Bye.
Bye-bye.